Howdy, welcome back. I'm Steven and this is FWP Reviews. January horror movies have become a staple and they're basically the bottom of the barrel of all movies released throughout the year. Some years though, we get to see magic happen. This year, magic happened. We got to see a not so shitty horror movie released in the month of January. Against all odds, this movie, Scream 5, or Scream 2022, whatever you're gonna call it, was pretty fucking good. Scream, or as I will subsequently be calling it Scream 5 throughout this video, picks up 25 years after the events of the original film. Another copycat killer is on the loose and it brings old new faces to play. For all fans of the franchise, I see this as an essential watch. If you haven't already seen this movie, you should probably click off as we are going to get into some spoilers in this video, and if you have, sit back, relax, and enjoy my spoiler review of Scream 5. It's not very often that a movie I see that I wasn't planning on doing a video review for elicits such a reaction that it makes me want to stop everything and make a video review for it. In fact, the last time I can remember this happening was all the way back in fall of 2020, so it's been a while. After seeing Scream 5 and enjoying the hell out of it, I knew that I needed to make a video because there's so much to talk about that is in the spoiler territory that you don't want to include in your initial spoiler written reviews. So here we are, and we're going to get into all of that today. The newest iteration of the Scream franchise is a legacy sequel by nature, something we have seen many times in the past several years. I don't think many people saw this movie coming out and thought that it would be very good because it's hard to see a way forward without the genius mind of Wes Craven behind the movies. Wes has done something so unique within the horror community that he's sort of become a living legend and defined his legacy through all of his work in different sections and factions of the horror genre, but he has really carved out his main legacy specifically with the Scream series. Creating that sort of dual legacy is something we rarely see these days, but it's just so fascinating to see how much love there is for him. And without him, it's hard to imagine a Scream movie working. Because of this, I certainly understand that people were nervous going into this. Heck, I was nervous, and I'm not even a longtime fan of the franchise. I'm a recent fan. It's hard to tell if a sequel is just for the money, if a sequel is really there to honor the original, but also there kind of for the money. And even if it is there to try to honor what the old movies did, it can still suck. It doesn't matter what this movie was made for. It could have sucked, even if it had the best intentions possible. So apprehensions were high. There were a million things that could have gone wrong, but we live in the reality where this movie is damn good and probably one of the better movies in this franchise. The directing duo of Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett can likely be thanked for much of their work on this movie. Their outings on such movies as Ready or Not show that they're ready to make a modern, gory horror movie that is up to par with what this generation sort of expects from this kind of movie. The real test was to see whether this modern experience that they have was able to sort of fit into the main line of what Scream has done for over 25 years. This was a test, and in short, yes, they succeeded. A lot of what this movie builds on is, of course, the groundwork that Wes laid for this franchise for countless decades. But this new directing duo really needed to bring their A game, and they did that and more. A movie like Scream is nothing without its cast, but it's so hard to talk about that in a non-spoiler review, but it's so essential to talking about these kinds of movies. To put it into one sentence, this cast is a miraculous blend of old and new faces. We've seen a lot of these old, new face type legacy sequels as of late, and this might be the best blending of that. Maybe there were a little bit weaker performances here, weaker performances there, but overall I think this blend was brilliant. Seeing the talented list of new faces before seeing this movie come out really got me excited because I'd seen a lot of them in a lot of other things and they were great. It was really kind of exciting to see how they would handle that, and they did. They handled it perfectly almost. Of course, we got to see our beloved trio of Sydney, Gale, and Dewey come back, which was excellent. They worked so well with the new cast. All of the performances felt in line with what you would expect from this kind of movie, and the legacy characters as well as the new faces were such a joy to watch. We get to actually see how the years have affected them and how that's changed their lives. There's a lot of fun callbacks, but there's also just a general theme about how the years pass on and what happens as years pass on in movie series, as well as just how legacy and legends and urban legends even have been created and subsequently made viral through the internet. The new cast, of course, which I've already touched on, brings in a lot of great faces from a lot of great new and upcoming franchises. Jack Quaid was excellent, and I love seeing him outside The Boys because he's been killing it in that show. Melissa Barrera sort of broke onto the scene after her performance in The Heights last year, and I didn't think she was the best that they had in that movie, but she did a really good job, and I was excited to see sort of how her career matured if she were to sort of take off. And it seems that she has taken off. She got this excellent role, and she does a really good job. Dylan Minnett has been in a lot of things, and he had a little bit of a smaller role in this movie, but it was great to see him sort of step into that role and to do something great with his talents other than the steaming pile of garbage that is 13 Reasons Why. Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown are excellent as their smaller role as the two twins of the movie. They bring in a lot of comedic excellence. They play off of each other really well as all of the cast. Jenna Ortega is a name I've heard before. I haven't seen her a lot, but she's obviously one of the big up-and-coming talents that has been going around, and it seems she's got a really good future in horror because she does an excellent job in this role, and she's also going to be starring as the lead, one of the higher billed actresses in the new horror movie X, which is going to be distributed by our beloved A24, so here's to hoping that's great. This movie did keep me guessing, and it's not really surprising as I am notoriously bad at guessing how things are going to happen in a movie. When the movie unveiled its twist, I was riveted. Skeet Ulrich returning as a ghost illusion mental thing, whatever that was not on my Scream 2022 bingo card, but I'm here for it. It was awesome to see that. It does interesting things involving the connections to the previous iterations of the franchise, as well as sort of making its own steps and path. The killers were good. I wouldn't say that they're my favorite killers, but, there are some real legends in that Scream Villain Hall of Fame. But the twist and the reveal of them was so interesting, and their motives, of course, really intrigued me because of the meta implications for this movie. Jack Quaid and Mickey Madison both are excellent when it's revealed, and you get to sort of see them play into that psycho element of their personalities in the movie. Leading into the more meta aspects of the film, we get to see how this movie sort of takes its themes and brings it to the modern day really well in a way that Scream 4 kind of tried to do but didn't do as well. These modern day meta elements make this movie a sign of the times, so it'll be interesting to see how this ages and if it ages well or poorly. Scream 2's sort of take on, are movies and video games potentially causing violence, and that is so prevalent today in the worst way possible, of course, but it's still an incredibly important and relevant thing that people are talking about, and they're trying to blame all of this on that, and seeing how that still is relevant may make me wonder maybe this movie will hold up better than I'm guessing it will. I want to deduct points because Reddit was mentioned sorry, but it actually worked really well in the movie, surprisingly. The movie manages to turn this idea of a requel on its head while expositing what a requel is, while also being a requel itself. It's so fascinating what this franchise has been able to do. It will be interesting to see if the studios try to capitalize on this new, fresh take on the franchise and try to make more requels, but we'll see if the movie has proven itself right or not. The Scream franchise, for all it's worth, is always so fun to watch because it pokes fun at things, but it's above all entertaining. The first two movies almost perfectly capture this meta aspect and angle that these movies sort of work. The third and fourth did not do a very good job with the meta aspects, and we see here in Scream 5 that they do capture this meta aspect, bring it up to date, and make it something that almost everybody watching will easily understand, but also will be able to unfold and be entertained by that reveal. Scream 1 and 2 are arguably the most fun movies of the franchise. I would say Scream 5 is also really fun, and then 3 and 4, of course, lose that, and that's what Scream 3 and 4's ultimate downfall is yeah, sure, the meta aspects are weaker, but they're still present, and it's fun to explore that. But the movies just aren't as fun. They're not as clever, they're not as scary, they're not as gory. Just as a whole, they're of lower quality. So bringing that focus back in and sort of focusing in on what makes a Scream movie good, while also being able to juggle it with this entirely new take on the meta concepts that we're seeing unfold, was really fascinating. I think even if the more meta aspects of this movie don't age supremely well, this movie will be really fun to revisit and rewatch and sort of unpack everything that happens because there's a lot to it that you wouldn't expect. With that final note, let's close out this review. Scream 5 certainly captured my attention because as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to make a video review for it. I wasn't even considering making a video review for it, and then when I saw it, I knew. So here we are. I hope I managed to capture the best and most intriguing parts of this movie because there are some flaws, as is the nature of the Scream franchise, but I didn't really want to dwell on that because this movie is sort of up to par with all of the other Scream movies at least, so being able to understand that and unpack that and think about, whatever you think Scream is, this movie probably lives up to that, whether or not you think Scream 1 is an 8, a 10, or a 7. this movie will probably be close to where you think Scream 1 and 2 fall at. I am, of course, extremely interested to hear what you guys think about it, so please feel free to share whatever you think it is about this movie that is the most important, most entertaining, etc. As we move into coming months, I want to let you all know that the uploads are going to stay less frequent as I'm finding more time to sort of focus on and make videos better than just try to get one out every single week. I will hopefully be able to pump out a lot and pump out a lot greater stuff for you guys to enjoy over these next few months. Until next time, follow my Instagram at FWPReviews100 for daily written reviews about the newest movies. And with that, this is FWP Reviews signing off. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.